Hanging in there. All right. That's good.
We have graduation this Friday, so we're trying to organize that, but good.
Yeah. I remember when I was the superintendent in Clovis, we had graduation 7 nights in a row.
Yeah, that's how our district is. They have it, um, well, they have, I think it's just 5 days, just all 5 days. This week, there's a graduation every day for all the different schools.
Yeah, and because it's so warm in Clovis during this time of year, the ceremonies all started at 7:30 at night.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was exciting.
You get to see all the fruits of everyone's labor.
Yep, absolutely. How's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Good. Right. Happy to see and hear that. Was a good week for anybody get any surprises? Anything unusual happen that you want to share or talk about? Have they posted any results in California yet on the election? Any exit polling? No. Okay. I have a friend of mine that's running for judge. He wanted me to vote for him, but I told me that I would be election fraud because I don't live in that county anymore. So
Strong ethics, Dr. Cash.
I sent him a couple of bucks instead.
What county was it?
Superior Court judge, Santa Barbara County. It's like the first contested judge election in, God, somebody told me it was like decades, which is really scary and unfortunate, but so
You lived in
exciting.
Santa Barbara?
Pardon?
You lived in Santa Barbara?
Yeah. Uh I lived in Santa Barbara off and on for from 1992 to 2016.
Oh, wow. That's why I went to college there in 2016.
Aha. All right. Yeah, I got a degree. I'm a gaucho from UCSB.
Yay! Me too.
Yep. I think it was my year that started the tortilla throwing at the basketball games. I think that was and that was in the 70s in the old gym.
Did y'all have the Deltopia then, or no?
No, there was no Deltopia. There was just the insanity of Halloween. So, yeah, I I was like, I went to UCLA, boo, for like 3 months and then got drafted into the military. And when I was done with my service, I was going to go back to UCLA, but I had two friends that were at Santa Barbara, and they said, "Hey, Cash, come visit us in Santa Barbara." So I visited them, and I went, "What? Why would I go? I'm going to Santa Barbara." I thought, wow, I could go to Westwood or I could like go live on the beach in Santa Barbara. That was not a hard choice.
The pipeline of Gauchos to Trojans is crazy. There's so many of them at USC now.
There are a lot. You're absolutely right. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Well, now, all right. So Anybody have any questions for me before we get started tonight? No questions? So I sent out the expectations and the agreements. Where did I can share those, or if you'd like me to, or was there anything on there that I didn't represent well, or that you had a difficulty understanding or agreeing with, or you want to talk about? Happy to do that. Okay, well, I'm not seeing anybody. All right, so we'll go for those as our expectations and agreements for you all, and then that for me as well. I'll do my best not to let Ernest down. Um, I woke up this morning and went, oh, it's class tonight. I can't let Ernest down. Um, so one of the things that you're going to start tonight is your case study. We're going to talk a little bit about recruiting and selection before we get there. And the case study is designed to have 2 higher ed groups and then 4 people that are either K-12, ed psych, or leading instructional change. I didn't have enough of the 3, well, there was enough of K-12, but not enough LIC or ed psych to make your own team. So I mixed those 3 concentrations up. I hope that's okay. But higher ed, you're going to be in your own group, so you can just do your own higher ed case study. And it was interesting because dementia must not be setting in yet for me, which is really nice because I was able to kind of go through the class roster, and I remembered every single one except for one person, I won't say who, that I had before that was I remembered was higher ed. And so I was like, all right, good job, Dr. Cash. Um, that made me feel good that I remembered you and I remembered what you were interested in. So, all right. So we're going to go backwards to go forwards first. I really want to talk about this because I didn't want to go overtime last week, and I'm going to do everything I can never to go overtime. But I really wanted to end the class last week with this conversation and opportunity for you to talk to each other about it. Because really, these HR practices that I went over and we talked about, and you came up with some additional ones that you thought were important to include, they create organizational culture. And so, you know, there's always a risk when you take that and you try to create an archetype out of it, but there really are there's more than 4. But there are 4 big ones that those practices create. And I always tell people, like, it's interesting. Right before class tonight, I was on the phone talking to a former student of mine who has interviews on Thursday and Friday for a job. And they're in 2 different, it's a K-12 job. They're in 2 different school districts. On Monday? Yeah, yesterday. I talked to another former student who has interviews and a job talk in 2 weeks at a university, at a Cal State. But when I was talking to them both, I talked about this idea of, well, have you learned much about the organizational culture? And have you looked to see if you're kind of who you are as all these, well, the higher ed one was a teaching job. The K-12s were leadership jobs. Have you thought about, what kind of leader you're going to be, what kind of professor, what kind of organization you want to be in? And I was thinking, God, this is really the conversation that I hope you all have in your breakout in just a few minutes. But so, and this is just my small mind thinking, 4 big archetypes. Number one I kind of put them in the order that this is my bias that I like from most to least. A collaborative team working archetype where there's leadership is hands-on. It's not driven from the central office or driven from the dean's or the president's suite. The leader is on the ground as well as above directing. High levels of communication and teamwork is extraordinarily valued. Another archetype is a creativity risk-taking one, where innovation is encouraged and the organization looks for forward-thinking employees that are always working outside the box, not necessarily taking giant risks, but are taking risks, and those risks are not job they don't result in losing the job. And then the third one is market driven, an organization that's focused on metrics, and there's always targets, there's always goals, and the leadership is always focused on where are we in relationship to that? What's the delta between our current status and our target? And then the last is the hierarchical one, which is really based on structure and process. There's rules and expectations. It's very safe and it's very efficient. Unfortunately, in all of education, the dominant culture is hierarchical. Both the structure of the organization and the process in which the work gets done is based on rules and expectations. It's a safe environment. I'm not too convinced it's efficient, but it is very a safe environment. So what I want to do now is put you in breakouts and have you have a conversation. Maybe you may go, well, geez, Cash, my organization doesn't fit in any of those, or it's a combo of a couple of them. Talk about, well, what organization do you want to work for, and why would you want to work for that? And then what are you going to try and stay away from? And why would you stay away from them? Any questions about that? You guys good with that? Okay, cool. All right, I will see you. How many do I got in each room? 5 or 4, so I'll see you in 15 minutes.
Hello. Hi, guys.
What's going on? Ernest, you really earned a lot of clout in this class, my guy. I see you.
Can you relay those two questions to us?
It was like something about your organization. Where does your organization fall, right? And what was the second one? Oh, thank you. Why?
Yeah, what do you want? What kind do you want to work for? And what will you stay away from? Hmm.
I'm trying to get all my stuff pulled up. I'm very late to the game right now. Having a very rough time. Mine's back to back, but
Today was my last day of school, so like with the kids.
heck
Yeah.
yes.
So I'm like exhausted and I don't know. I can't really.
Well,
There's
also
a
like
lot going
relief,
on
yeah?
there.
No?
There's just not a lot. And I have an interview tomorrow morning, so I need to like.
Are you going for it? I
Mhm.
actually visited your high school last week. And
Oh,
I
how
met
was it?
your APE teacher, Kasha. I don't know if she comes
Oh
down.
yeah, she's super sweet. Yeah.
She is amazing. I'm like, I
Yeah, the
want
way
to know
she does
her.
the collaboration and
The
yeah.
unified. That's what we're
Super
looking
cute.
to do.
It's
So
super cute.
I got to spend like the whole day there, literally,
Oh,
and see all of her classes and stuff. And
how cute.
it was really cool.
Did you meet the APs there?
I did not,
Okay.
but I heard Cecilia is like my
She's
counterpart there.
yeah.
And I'm
She's
like,
in our program. She goes in person though.
oh wow, I should
Yeah.
definitely connect with her.
Yeah.
I want to pick her brain about how she codes these classes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because you were in secondary a little bit, it's like the high school, if you don't understand it, it's like I have so many questions about A through G and like making sure that kids are getting all of this credit. And
Yeah.
um,
She's done a lot of work for sure.
Good luck, Erica.
Thank
heck
you.
yeah.
Best wishes.
Thank you.
Uh, Ernest, are these
Okay.
Oh, the four. Yeah, they're bunched together. So
oh
collaboration, teamwork, the creativity, and then market driven and hierarchy are the four.
Yeah, so it just goes to us too.
I know, right?
Um, what archetypal?
Editing text messages has saved my life.
But you can still see what you
I
first
know.
type
It
though.
makes me feel better, Erica.
Okay.
It
Oh, I
makes
look at
me
the edit.
it makes me feel better that I crashed out and then I revisited.
Yeah, I look at the edit because
So
that's true.
they know that I'm reflective of my actions.
Just know that they're looking at your edit.
I think
Uh,
what's really hard about these two descriptions of like archetypal organization is that I don't think that they are all one thing.
hmm,
And I think like the first set, that's like the goal. The second set is the system that we're in, right? I literally am looking at forward thinking, innovation, creativity. I had like the toughest day at work today and had to close our ethnic studies course because there was only 15 course requests.
dang.
We are declining enrollment. I sat in the teacher, this is even crazy. The teacher is like weaponizing the students. I feel like to talk about how important the course is instead of actually doing her job of trying to recruit and get kids in this class, just like
Yeah.
every other elective does. But she takes no responsibility for that. So I had to sit as the only person of color in the room beside the students and hear them say all things that are all true, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, but we are focused on metrics. We have a structure and a process. We need to have an efficient master schedule that gives kids the majority of things that they want. And I've done everything to try to make this work, and it just doesn't work. And so, two things can be true at the same time. The course is highly valuable, we should have it, but also it does not fit into the master schedule, and I would have to sacrifice 13 kids who are actually viable to be in the course to give them what they want and sacrifice 180 kids who would have a class size of 39 and a half. So what do you do then?
Well,
Like,
you're left to there's not it's not for your position, it's not really optional at that point.
it's not, and especially when you go to the district and they're giving you a certain number of section allotments
Yeah,
and
you can't.
you can't do it. Like,
Not for no 15 kids. That don't
but
make no
trust
sense.
and believe, I felt like the biggest sellout sitting in that room. So I will just say that's the as I used to tell my last principal, I'm like, that's why they pay you the big bucks. I guess that's why they pay me the big bucks to sit there and eat shit and take it.
Honestly, kinda, yeah, I guess.
Thank you, Ernest. Thank you for that. That is the
Yeah.
line of the night.
And that is why we don't want to let you down.
Yep, we will not let Ernest down. You
We
know,
will
I,
not
I
let him
needed to
down.
hear that because I am planning my dad's funeral for this Saturday.
Oh,
And
sorry.
I think I shared with a couple, my dad was diagnosed in December and he died on May 3rd. And so it's just been a roller coaster, but death brings out the worst in people and family sucks. And so I'm like texting his sister, like, do not come. I will cancel it. Like, do not be here. And it's really, really tough.
Oh, wow.
Not what he wanted. And everyone's like, "Ugh."
Yes, sorry about that. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Very great idea. We are one of the only schools in Orange County that does not accept dual enrollment for high school credit.
Why?
And so kids do dual enroll, and Sam Marine actually is at my sister's school, our partner, which is Cypress College,
Mhm.
and they have very limited offerings. I'm going to write that down and go research to see if they have an ethnic studies offering. And kids do it because it strengthens their applications and course of rigor when they apply to colleges because they report it, but they don't get high school credit for it, which is really tough.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And there's still a club, and the club meets and they do great work, but I don't know, man, this teacher, I'm like, you're not really down. You're very performative at this point. Because if you were really down, you'd be partnering with me. And, I've reflected and I'm like, I certainly can do much more to reach out to her. Um, but I'm at this point of like, oh my God, I just can't. Mhm. Yeah, it's so wild because we're a high school of declining enrollment. We had 3,000 and we're at like 2,776, which is a big difference. And we have just an oversaturated summer school requests for first instruction. And these kids are going to Silicon Valley, they're going to BYU Online, which are basically pay to play options. And I would much rather them take the course at a community college and verifying the rigor of that course and whatnot. And I mean, when I say an oversaturation, I'm talking about like over 600 students take at least one course and there's no limits. We recently imposed some limits of 40 units total, but I have some kids requesting to take 2, 3 courses in one summer. And I have to explain to them that like colleges are not going to view this transcript as a course of rigor. They're going to say you took 3 accelerated courses in one summer. What was the purpose? And they are doing it, to be fair, to make room in their schedule for our VAPA programs, our show choir, for athletics, for all of the things. But I mean, I have kids who are only taking 3 academic classes and 3 choirs. And so, like, that's just not good guidance as a school. It doesn't make us look good, like, to give that to a student. So yeah, very like layered stuff. But I feel like our district, we're a single high school district, does not fully understand the implications at the secondary level. They just want to get to yes and make everyone happy.
You said you're a high school district? What other high schools are
No,
a
we're a
part of?
single high school district.
Oh, a
We only have one.
single high school, because I was like, how come you're the only one that doesn't have dual enrollment? Okay, that makes sense.
Not big enough. For sure, like some form of structure. I find that, the top part, collaboration, teamwork, all of that cannot happen unless you have a certain environment, right? You have to create the parameters and the conditions to which teachers feel ready to take on this collaborative leadership model. And I've been at multiple schools where I operate in that very much collaborative decision-making model. And I often find that there's resistance because there's fear. They don't want to take ownership, and they don't want to take ownership not for lack of want but for lack of fear. And I get that, because that affective filter hasn't been lowered in that space, right? If I say I want to do this, so like every meeting I have, I always end the meeting with like, I do not want you to walk out and say admin said to do this, because we are collectively making this decision.
Mhm.
That's all
And
they say.
it's so hard. It's so hard for people, especially when they're used to like the top down.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, what I've tried to do is find those teachers that they listen to, because they are out there. And I kind of, those are my key players. And for the first year, whenever I'm at a different school, I'm like, I just want you to show them. Like they just need to observe you. This is what we're like, this is our team collaboration in terms of like what we decided to do. You just need to be the model. That's all I'm asking you to do. And you got to show how great it is and all of that components to it. But and then the second year, it's like that buy-in happens because they're like, oh, look how great it is. And it doesn't come from me ever, because if it comes from me, then they're not gonna want to do anything. So it always comes from their peers and their teachers. So that's the ownership, but it's like you guys can try it. Here's your risk taking, think outside the box, do your thing. Like it's not going to be set in stone for everybody. It's not across the board. So go ahead and make all your mistakes. Like, and it's great. And see what works, what doesn't. And then year two, and then we kind of like streamline it. And that's how I've been successful on like kind of changing different things at the schools. So
Yeah.
key
What do they
players.
say? What do they say in business? It's like 10, 80, 10. Like 10% are on board, like, oh yeah, heck yeah, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Then a majority are like, oh, I'm a little scared, I don't
Yeah.
know. And then you have that 10% that's just like, nah.
Yeah. And I always try to have like my naysayers like on. So like my SLT, I want one person that's going to push back. And I like intentionally put them on my leadership team because I need them to see the why. I need them to push back, and I need our teachers to work with it, because not everyone's, because when you have everyone that's willing to do it on your team, then it's super easy. But I need someone to kind of be like, no, I don't want to, or no, that's not gonna, because then it's like, okay, so let's work together on how to fix that and how to make this work. Think outside the box kind of thing. And so then they kind of can't say no, because like, again, you were part of the solution. Um, and so that has been, I found that to be helpful too. I always want a negative person on there. It's helpful. Want it all. Bye, guys.
Yeah, hopefully that was a good, lively conversation. I'd be curious, just as a show of hands, how many of you want to go work in a hierarchical archetype organization? Oh, already do. Yeah. Sorry for laughing, Diana. That's probably not funny. Um, okay. Appreciate that. I'm gonna talk about one thing, and then we're gonna get right into recruiting. I want to go back over this because I think this is just important because I really want us to be very clear about what we're thinking about over the next 10 weeks. Um, so really human resources gives you the opportunity to not just get the right people in place, but then supporting them and doing their jobs. So, I mean, it's the one thing I said over and over and over again in leadership in the leadership class. Always remember it's never about you, it's just about everyone else. So if when you're in a position to care about and support everyone else, it's extraordinarily important that you do that. And so these are kind of my 6 key strategies. Define and live your core values. Embed the values in every aspect of an employee experience. I always say hire for culture contribution over culture conformity. Echo chambers are a nightmare. Too much homogeneity is also a nightmare. It's so much better to seek diverse perspectives, even when those perspectives are difficult for you to hear. It's just important. Foster open communication and feedback because that promotes psychological safety, which is extraordinarily important. If people feel psychologically safe, then they're going to be able to do their job so much better. Always think and try to understand employee traits. And I always say it's good to discover the mindset first, starting with yours, how you view how the world works, how the organization's mindset views how the world works, and then the people with whom you work. Constantly invest in professional learning because ed organizations, if they're not about learning, I mean, quite frankly, what are we about? And then something that we just don't do a good job. My generation did a horrible job. Your guys' generations are doing it slightly better, but still, I think there's room for improvement, and that's recognizing and rewarding contributions. And I always think it's important to balance those recognitions amongst individuals and teams. I just think that's really important. All right, um, so here's the deal. Recruiting and hiring, we're going to spend a couple weeks on, is extraordinarily important. Um, the thing that we have in at least in the United States right now is we have in K-12 teacher shortages, and in higher ed we got position shortages. So how you recruit to overcome the shortage and how to get the best candidate from a crowded a crowded field is extraordinarily important. And I don't think you can accept the typical approach. The stakes are too high, and particularly for higher ed, the pool is so very, very deep. It's important to think way outside the box and stay away from the status quo. Now, there's a lot of new ideas in how we recruit employees. There's all these digital platforms, line boards, online job portals, online demonstrations, digital portfolios, virtual interviews. Um, that's not that new anymore, but it still is considered a new idea in recruitment. What is becoming more and more new are these remote and flexible working arrangements versus kind of brick and mortar, hybrid, virtual, and also is really recruiting based upon an alignment of values and beliefs. Now, I recently had a conversation. I'm going to be doing with a couple of colleagues of mine. We're going to be doing a presentation for California charter schools on um, recruitment and succession planning. Now, and so we were having a conversation about this idea of values-based recruiting, how important it is. But you have to be careful because what you don't want to do is create just an echo chamber. I mean, you can't have people you can't recruit people who are going to come to work and destroy what you believe to be a good culture of the organization. But you also just can't recruit people that are just always going to echo what you say and do. So that's a fine line. I think you can get an alignment of values and beliefs. And this is what a very smart colleague of mine said. Hey, uh, Dave, listen, the alignment of values and beliefs is that we don't want an echo chamber. Okay, I bought that. Um, I think data-driven decision making is important. In the K-12 world, we've got to build teacher pipelines. And so if you're in a positional place in a K-12 organization, you got to find institutes of higher ed. You got to figure out financial incentives. I mean, right now, it's not a teacher pipeline. Well, at Rossier, we are doing a residency. We have residency in our teacher ed program, which is really great because that means students are getting paid at the same time they're getting their credential. We've also implemented this really cool partnership. Right now, it's only with two school districts, Torrance and Newport Mesa, where they're building an administrator pipeline through USC. And so finding ways however it works to do that's important. Um, something that I had a really difficult time with probably 30 years ago was a flexible staffing approach. Um, but I think it's important now to be thinking, how can we marry part-time with temporary? Is there opportunities for job sharing? Can we have somebody do that work in a sort of a freelance style? And then if you can, pre-vet all the subpools. Um, I don't believe that typically for professional learning, and support student and staff wellness programs, which I think is really important. I have two students right now doing their dissertations on the impact of uh, leadership on teacher wellness or illness. She's not calling it illness, but not supporting wellness. We don't do a good job investing in professional learning and providing very specific support and mentoring. Going to talk quite a bit about this when we talk about onboarding in a couple of weeks, because the onboarding process is a great way to establish mentorship, coaching, um, and being very specific about career advancement. Not everyone wants to advance their career, but many people do, and having some clarity around what does that look like. And if you're interested in going from this job to that job to that job, here's the way that works. And I think that's important. So, all right, going to quickly put you back in the same breakouts. And this is just going to be 5 minutes. I want you to think about those. That was just 8 ideas for, quote, new recruiting efforts. Come up with one idea that's missing that you think was both new and be important to consider and then to do in either higher ed or K-12, and have somebody that's going to be available to share out. And you're really only going to get 5 minutes. So I'll see you in 5 minutes.
something new.
Hmm. Did he post he posted the week 2 PowerPoint?
Yes, he did. That's what I was looking at earlier.
Oh, okay, here it is.
Recruitment, new ideas, digital platforms, definitely value-based pipeline. The flexible staffing is really hard for me because I think that doesn't provide continuity for students, which is really tough. What is missing from the list? What would make your idea both new and important to consider? I think a big one is also workplace culture and branding. Like you want to be part of this awesome team, and there's some PR that goes with that.
Hmm.
Like I certainly, when I was applying, looked at like the social media of the school and like was like, oh, do they seem happy?
I think, yeah, branding these days, especially in the age of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about branding like as a school as a whole, or just like what are
Well,
you?
I think that starts it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's certainly.
Like the type of culture you're saying? Like
Mhm.
the okay.
Mm. Mhm.
Hmm.
Oh,
That's true. Because I've had some pretty bad interview processes, and it kind of reflected.
On the culture.
Yeah.
yep.
Why do you need me here? Just kidding. No, man. Yeah, yeah. What went wrong? No, that's a good one though. I like that.
There's a leader that we work with. His name's Jimmy Casas. I don't know if you've heard of him. And he talks about that a lot. He talks about the interview chair, and that culture begins when you at hiring someone. But then when you do have to have conversations, tough conversations with them. It's like bringing them back to their interview chair because obviously you're your best self there. And kind of reflecting that. And I've been using that and it's really helpful. Like, hey, you said you loved kids.
Why'd you hit one? Just
Why did you hit one?
Like, let's get back to that.
You know? But that's yeah, I've always thought that was important too.
agreed.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, and he said like once you hire them also it's like setting expectations, like the type of culture you have, like expectations you have in like a very positive way because they're excited they just got hired. And so when you do need to circle back to areas of needs or it's like, hey, remember like you were told this. This is how we were going to behave as a culture, remember? Like we need to make sure that we are acting X, Y, and Z. So that has since we kind of he worked with us on that a lot and we've been doing that this past year and it's just a good it just sets hard conversations to be reflective and to be it's just a little bit easier.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, um, let's get the one idea. We'll start with Ashley, Edwin, Josh, Sage, Veronica. What did you guys come up with?
So our group talked heavily on like financial incentives. So for example, like hard to fill positions like special ed or math or science, there's always some type of incentive like to board people on. But also we talked about like word of mouth or having the referrals. Like oftentimes like talent management is not just like waiting for people to apply, but like you're targeting like people like, oh, I know you're in this program. Like, is there anyone looking for this job? And being very like I said intentional about that and in terms of recruitment. And it's not just like HR doing it, like you're having like other staff members also like do the referral or whatnot.
That's two good ideas. I'm going to talk about them both. How about room 5? Alejandro, Arlene, Charity, Diana, and George.
I can share what our group shared, unless Diana, you were gonna unclick because no, okay. Diana had made a great point about talking about health benefits, how that's something that's very important. So marketing the exact benefits that you have and maybe comparing it to the local areas to say like, hey, we offer better benefits than here, here, and here. And then George had mentioned how a lot of times when hiring happens, the hiring panel or HR isn't really looking into the needs of the school, right? Looking at the demographics to really see what the needs are. And they're kind of just using blanket questions just to kind of pick based on those questions and not based on evaluating the needs of the school. And then I'm going to go ahead and tag Charity in.
I think you actually brought this up, which I think part of what should happen with the panel should be made up of a community of people who are part key stakeholders within the school. So it's not this homogenous group of people making decisions for the entire community.
Great. Super. Thank you. All right. How about the Alyssa, Erica, Ernest, and O'Shea room? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Good. Another good conversation. O'Shea, you have your hand up.
Oh yeah, to add on to that, Erica brought up a good point about in that interview process with the candidate experience. It also makes it easier to come back to that. Erica, what was the term you used? The interview chair, what'd you say?
Yeah, so I read a lot of Jimmy Casas and I work with Jimmy Casas. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he talks a lot about the interview chair process, going back to the interview chair. So once you are hiring, culture starts when you are accepting and hiring someone. And so you as the leader, they're excited, they're excited to work with you. So setting those expectations right then and there and just kind of hitting key points about their interview and what you liked about them. So if there is a time when you have to come back and have hard conversations, or you might need to, maybe something happened. So you do have that opportunity to say it's like a reflective conversation. Like these were the expectations. This is what we had talked about, right? And this is what you agreed to. Like this is our school culture expectations. And this was something you were very passionate about, when you were in this interview process and interview chair. This was something that you said you wanted to do, and this is what's happening right now. So let's reflect on why, right? So making tough conversations a little bit easier once it's not something new, clear as kind. So it's reminding them of those expectations.
Yeah, he's a good dude, isn't he? He's the culturized guy, right?
Yes, he wrote Culturize. He's so
Yeah.
awesome. So he works very closely with our district and then some of his colleagues. But yes, he's great. His
Yeah, I've
books.
heard him speak. He started his president. I'm sorry, this is my ADD ADHD kick. I saw him and he started his presentation with something that I had said many times, so I liked it, and that is no one became an educator just to be just to be average. We all
Mhm.
came into it to be special for the kids that we're going to come across. So,
Yeah.
all right, another good uh, group of thinking there. Brandon, Karen, Megan, and Yang, what'd you guys talk about?
So in our group, we talked about first we talked about how coming in mid-semester can be really stressful for people. So trying to do a lot of your hiring during your slow periods like summers or over winter break, that way they can come in kind of like on a fresh slate. And then we also talked about the autonomy of a role. So if there are opportunities in the role for people to be
Hmm.
creative, letting them know that either, in the job description or the interview process or even on the company website, so that they can learn what they have autonomy over in that role and how they can be creative and incorporate their unique skill set.
Yeah, it's interesting. In every single study, autonomy still remains the single most significant motivating factor for employees' interest in staying at work and coming to work. That's a really good idea. Brandy, Liz, Susan, and Thaddesia, what'd you guys come up with?
So we talked about AI recruitment,
Aha.
and just about how it can help with the process going a little bit faster. Also, with like candidates being able to know, maybe another school, maybe they apply for one school, but the AI process can help them find another school that better fits. Just looking at the resume, seeing, because I've had an experience at a job fair where a candidate came amazing, and then when we went to try to pull their application, they weren't all the way certified. So, like the AI recruitment would also help with making sure they were qualified and also letting the candidate know, like, hey, you're missing this. And then
Yeah,
on the
good.
opposite, Liz told us that her company for the VA is actually starting to use to screen for at least resumes. And like one of the downfalls she said could be like it could be a candidate that actually is, really good, but because it's AI generated, you may not ever even see that candidate because they take them out. So it was just good to hear both sides of it.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. AI is only as smart as the people who put into it, or what you put into it. Good to always remember that. How about America, Jasmine, Laura, and Salpi?
We had a couple of great ideas. The one that we talked about the most was similar to group one's, financial incentives and retention bonuses. So we specifically talked about sign-on bonuses for hard to fill positions, retention bonuses for positions that have high turnover. But we also talked about other financial things like maybe tuition reimbursement, tuition or loan forgiveness, housing assistance, or relocation stipends, things like that. More things that are common in like corporate America. Maybe that could work for the education industry. And then I'm going to tap in my colleague America because she had some great additions as well.
We also talked about marketing your institution if applicable, or you could work towards it, right? Like thinking about, your
Yeah.
position might make the same amount at another organization, but maybe your student to staff ratio is better. So you can look at like culture and saying like, well, similar, but I'll have less work, less stress. So just thinking about those aspects of how you can market the culture in a quantifiable way as well.
Yeah, great. All really, really good ideas. Oops, I didn't want you to join a breakout room. Sorry. All right. So, let's talk about some specific stuff then, okay? And I'm going to start with K-12 and then go into higher ed. So, one of the things that would be really good for recruiting is that we are able to evidence that we have high retention, that we're not a revolving door, and that one of the ways that we can do that is through teacher residency programs. But I would encourage you to be thinking about what are some strategies that we can create that are they're inexpensive. They're what we want because we want employees to come work with us, stay with us, help build the organization. That's important. Improve working conditions at every school site. We're really good at just letting school sites be. And so and if you're working in a system that has multiple sites, there are dramatic differences in the working conditions from site to site. Some are no one wants to transfer to or work in, and others are everybody wants to be there. And I look at that, that means to me that you create strong colleagues everywhere, that you have effective administrators everywhere, and that the teaching assignments are stable. Now, that doesn't mean that you get to teach third grade or English 9 for the entirety of your career. It just means that the teaching workforce is relatively stable, that there isn't people looking to leave or people getting burnt out and quitting, and that you have to do that at every site. Find and develop and support effective school leaders. That's really, really important. I can't tell you how many times I've gone and done a search for a particular position, and what we hear, if the person who's leaving is not leaving on their own, is leaving because they've been told to leave, it's because they were not able to create a positive environment. It was not collegial. The people were not engaged in decision making. There was definitely kind of a hierarchical approach. So, finding and developing and supporting people, site leaders and district leaders that can create shared missions, shared vision, that leads to a positive school climate is really important. I would always say use data. We don't use data enough. And build relationships with institutional partners, not just the local college, or we get all of our student teachers from Cal State Fullerton, or we've always, no, look for other places where you can find great candidates to come in and do the work in your educational organization. And then, as several of you talked about, which is fantastic, engage in relationship-based recruiting. Ask people, do you know somebody? We really, I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. I was just a high school principal, but I had a great physics teacher, and physics teachers and chemistry teachers are hard to find. Even they were 30 years ago, they are today. And my physics teachers met a young lady who lived in Illinois, and he left my high school and moved to where she lived. But when he left, he met someone at the school he moved to who wanted to move to California. And so introduced me to this person who happened to be not a physics teacher, but a math teacher. So he helped it. So relationship-based recruitment is really good. And I think it was Laura that said, or somebody said, hire early. This is the worst thing we do in K-12 is wait till the very last minute to hire people. And as a result, you're scrambling. So hire as early as you can. Always be aware of and eliminate implicit bias. And we'll talk more about this later, but that starts with the application process. Well, actually, it starts with the job description. So many job descriptions eliminate people based upon the language they use and the requirements that are in it that aren't necessarily the requirements for the position. So when I'm doing work like strategic planning or doing work in districts, and I did this wherever I went, one of the first things I engaged my human resources folks to do was to go through job descriptions and look at key words that suggested a white middle class bias in our job descriptions, because that always led to white middle class bias in our hiring decisions. So look for those. Look at if you're engaged in a performative just basically fill out the application and then come for a 10-question interview process, which hopefully we're still not doing in most places, but I have a fear that we are. But if you're still doing that, then also then be looking at what are the questions that we're asking. Yeah, Jasmine, you have your hand up.
That's just really interesting. Can you give us an example of some of what that might look like?
The questions, or
like what you would be looking for
I'd be
specifically?
looking for
What were you
specific
trying-
words like instead of parents, I would look for family. Instead of God, you put me on the spot when I wasn't thinking about that.
Sorry. It was interesting. I just hadn't heard of it.
But I will.
In the sense of
think
hiring, I
about that,
hadn't
and
heard
I
it.
will come back to that.
Thank you.
Because that's really important. Really, really important. Here's the other thing that we do in K-12. It's like we're in a big fraternity. And so we need to make placements that are intentional, that build success, as opposed to saying, hey, all right, we hired a new third grade teacher and they're going to get this group of kids. Instead of being very intentional, we have a brand new teacher, we have not necessarily brand new, but a teacher new to us. Let's put them in a situation that's going to build success for them individually and help our organization grow. It used to be, and it still is in many systems, if you go to a secondary school and you teach content, well, you're going to teach the lowest level content. You're going to have the most difficult students in your class, as opposed to doing something different than that. Provide professional learning support, and the obvious, have effective leaders that support new hires. So the last two about effective leaders is really focusing on principal development or leadership development. Now, everybody has to get an administrative services credential in California, and you have to get other credentialing in other states to be an administrator. But you shouldn't just rely on that. There should be some sort of internal process where you're building the bench, identifying people who are interested in become positional leaders, and then putting them in a place to have that opportunity and then be successful. And for me, the only skills that I'm looking for, what I want more than skills or wills, but the skills are a vision for equity, the ability to create a collaborative working environment for students, and also the ability to analyze and use data to inform improvement. So that's kind of my bias. All right. For our K-12 folks, other than a great question by Jasmine, which I'm going to think through and find remember. Any other questions or comments about what you just heard me talk about? No? Josh.
It, is there an aspect of relationship-based recruitment that also perpetuates implicit bias? And
Absolutely.
I ask that because like I've seen that happen, right? Where in your example, like buddy knows buddy, and so still working with the same people. But how do you avoid that?
So it's almost impossible to, unless you as the leader have made it very clear that that relationship-based recruiting has to be based on finding people that contribute to our culture, not people that conform to our demographic. And that's important. It's hard, really hard sometimes to get out of your comfort zone when you're recruiting. Really hard. And it's as a decision maker, like if you are the ultimate decision maker, like, and you're going to make the final recommendation to whomever the hiring group is, the university or the board of education, you have to really check on your bias constantly. Am I recommending Dave Cash because he looks like me, sounds like me, comes from the same kind of neighborhood I came from? Or am I recommending him because he has this set of skills he's going to bring to the position that are aligned with this set of values and this set of goals that we have that we're working on? This sounds kind of dumb, and some of you probably can't believe I would do something like this, but when I'm doing an active recruiting for a position, I'll create a spreadsheet of what I'm hearing people tell me they want to see in the person that they want to hire. And then I will specifically look for that in the written documents, but more importantly, inquire about that from the not just the candidate, but from the references that they've listed and the references that I'll contact that they didn't list, and see how many of them kind of look like they are aligned with what the organization is sharing that they would like to see. And that helps a lot in recruiting. Yeah. Erica, you had your hand up. And I
Yeah,
cut
I
off.
think for um for new teachers, I know we recruit a lot through like the local college, so Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Long Beach. I do always kind of say yes to allow them to do hours, and just kind of help them fill the culture out. But when I do hire new teachers, especially Probe 1 and Probe 2, I think I sometimes find myself, I do like green teachers because I do want to be able to train them on my expectations, but it is so much work as a leader, because you do have to set those expectations to work with them, and not giving them surprises, like letting them know what the simple three goals are. And if they are probe 1 or probe 2 and they're not meeting if I'm hand in hand with them and they're still not meeting it, like I don't want them to be surprised either. So really be transparent in that. Like we're still working on these three goals and I still haven't seen improvement. And so when that March date comes, it's not a surprise. So that's also something that you have to know as a leader too. Like if they're not performing your first year, it's not going to get better. And especially only if you've been clear as can be and supportive as can be, because that's as a leader, that's on you too. But if you felt you haven't poured, you're all into supporting them. But it's not. And I remember the last time I did non-reelects, when one of the teachers went to assistant soup for HR when she said you're going to have a non-reelect. He was like, "Well, I'm not surprised." And she's like, "That's exactly what I want to hear because I don't want them to be surprised if they should know it's not like it shouldn't come out of nowhere. The expectations were there, and I'm just honest. Like I've been in here. This is what I'm asking for. I still haven't seen it. And so I think that's also something to remember that, yeah, it's not fun when you're not going to have a non-reelect, but it's something that needs to be done when you're building your culture because once they're on tenure, you're not going to be able to it's really hard to let them go.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. Tough decisions to make, but in the system that we have, which is based upon a pretty strong education code in relationship to, in the K-12 world, what permanency means versus non-permanent. Um, it is, yeah, those are difficult and tough decisions, particularly since you have to make them in December, January, as opposed to, a full year or 2 years worth of work. But they're extraordinarily important. I want to talk about higher ed. Higher ed is a very similar but different beast. It's much more bureaucratic. Um, I would say that here are the main points: having a very, very clear strategic plan and clear authorization as to who you can hire for what purpose. Forming a search committee and who will be on the search committee, and training the search committee. Developing a recruitment strategy. Are we going to just list in the usual places, or are we going to use some of the things that K-12 is using? Relationship-based recruiting. Always have multi-stage screening, paper screening. Then I always believe a good next step after that is informal interviews with the candidates that meet the minimum qualifications. Then engage in a formal interview with the entire search committee. Then bring the candidates, the final candidates, or you can bring as many as you have time for, to campus for a visit to do a job talk for faculty. After that, solicit input from faculty who viewed the job talk or were present during it. Engage with the search committee, deliberation and selection. Then do due diligence on reference checks. You're either doing the contract negotiation or the attorney's doing it, and then recommending to either the dean or the provost the hiring date and the kind of appointment that it's going to be. Getting authorization from the provost is the number one thing to start with. I can't tell you, I can speak. I've only worked I've worked in more than one higher ed institution, but really only one significantly, USC. So here's kind of the real world on this. If you don't get specific authorization from the provost, who is the gatekeeper and purse strings holder, then you're not going to be able to, you'll engage in this recruitment and hiring process, but you won't be able to actually hire and appoint the person. I always say that when you're doing that, you're telling the provost, we want to hire we're looking for somebody that's already done research in these areas, is aligned with these research priorities, or somebody that's going to is a successful fund developer, or is highly prestigious based upon their publications. Always provide justifications. They have great potential for getting more grants. They'll impact our ranking. Be very clear on what's the rank and the scope of the position. Is it going to be an associate professor, an assistant professor? Are you going to hire a full tenured professor? And then that's a whole nother process of tenure to tenure if they're already tenured. Have a very clear job description so that it's clear to candidates what are the research expectations, what are the teaching contributions, and what are the service expectations. Those are the three major areas. Are you going to be expected to research, which entails publication, presentation? Are you going to be expected to teach, which means syllabus creation and time spent with undergrad or grad students? And what are the service expectations? Are you going to be expected to be on committees, serve on dissertation committees, be on inter-college or inter-university work? Those are all things that should be in the job description, so it's very clear. In the search committee, I would always say it's really good to, as quickly as you can, is to assign a chair to that committee. Get someone that's going to be willing to kind of be the point person, and then also have that person or the committee identify who's going to coordinate it as going to be kind of the support staff, identify, set up, provide the materials to both the candidates and to the search committee. When you're creating the search committee, it's, I think, smart to be thinking about not narrowing down the committee, but expanding the possibility of members for two reasons. One, somebody like at USC, if we were going to hire somebody for EDL, I was an advocate. Let's get somebody that's in the master's program and somebody that's in the OCL program and maybe in the global program, because they're going to look at it differently. They might ask, well, why is that important? Help me understand. Or they may also be able to provide good input into, have you thought about this or have you thought about that? Which there's never too much of that. Um, as far as strategies for recruitment, the traditional ones are really kind of the focused, hey, we're a tier one university. We're focusing in these traditional publications. We would always send out talent scouts to all of the higher ed conferences, particularly the ones that were content specific in the area that we were recruiting. We'd ask everyone on faculty, do you know someone for direct outreach? Be very clear about that we need diverse candidates. And then one of the most difficult things to do in a highly bureaucratic setting like a university or college is dealing with the application requirements, which typically are defined by and created by lawyers. And what do lawyers always do? They make it so that you can't get sued. So as opposed to them being helpful, they're very constraining and constricting. So finding a way to expand that, to allow for something other than what traditionally is accepted is a good thing to do. First thing is the screening thing, and that is first, are they eligible? Do they have a doctorate from a reputable, tier one university? What kind of research impact can they have? What kind of funding will they bring? Are they going to be a good fit within the context of that part of the college or university? And then engaging in reference checking. I'll just tell you a quick story. I was involved in one, two, three, four, five, six or seven professors. I'm not going to tell you who I participated in hiring in case you don't like them. And when I was involved in reference checking, I found I couldn't believe it. People lied. Like I called and checked on some publications and some research and with this one person and the dean of a school that they had been at, not when we were leaving, but had been a time before, said they didn't engage in any research. That's why they left. And it was like, wow. So reference checking remains a significant thing, and I'll say the same thing with K-12. Never, never, never just stick to the references that they give you. I don't know about you, but when I applied for jobs, I only listed references that would say David Cash is the most perfect human being that ever walked the face of the earth. And so you have to know when you're involved in that screening process that you're going to be checking references outside of the list that they provided you so that you can get. And then it's important to be thinking about large and small universities. Okay, interviews. Two things that you have to remember. The first round of interviews is a structured interviews. You have to ask the same questions to each candidate, and you have to have, I think, a robust evaluation form that allows it for a good debrief afterwards, a good deliberation. Then you can make some decisions about who you're going to invite for a job talk, where they would come, and this can be all different kinds of things. I mean, depending on what you're hiring for, they can do a presentation of the work they've done in the past, the work they're doing now, the work they anticipate doing in the future around research and studies. Um, if it's mostly a teaching, you have to have them teach. And I don't I haven't been in hiring at you. I haven't been involved in hiring in about 5 years at US, about 5 years now. So I used to say if they're going to be one of our teaching faculty, teaching in front of a bunch of adults is kind of dumb. They need to come and teach in front of students. The faculty is going to be either highly critical or nonchalant and laissez-faire, um, whereas students are going to be able to provide some good feedback. And then what we always do is we would say, um, anything anybody know about these candidates that we haven't been able to find out that we should know. All right. Now I'm going to give you time to work in your groups. Before I do that, I gave you all a copy of the case study. I don't need to go over that, I don't think, because I know you're all really good readers. But were there any questions on that? Any uncertainties as to what you're going to be expected to do? Okay. So I'm going to give you 30 minutes right now. We're going to come back at 10 to 7. Now, I'm just going to I'll pop into a couple of groups because not everyone's here tonight and tell you who you're missing from your group. But one of the first things I would highly recommend is that you exchange emails and make some decisions about when you're going to meet in between now and next week. Because next week you're going to present your solution to the prompts. Everybody good? All right. I'm going to put you in your groups. Don't hate me.
Hi, Ernest.
Want to get paid the full day. You want to get
Hi,
paid.
Ernest.
Hang on. Are we choose one to work? The higher ed or the K-12? Oh, yes. Okay. Just double check. Yeah. Okay. So are we the group for like rest of the case, the case study? I don't know
Okay.
either. So,
I'm sorry. I was on the phone. Are we doing our case study right now?
yes, for higher ed.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you?
I'm weak. Hey, we're a powerful group right here.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have the prompt? Where's the PowerPoint?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, he sent it through the email.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Did
right.
y'all get a time to look through a little bit?
Sure, be quiet.
Oh.
Dr. Cash.
Just for a second, you also have Daniela Gomez in your group. Do you guys know her? Okay. I will email her and tell her, if it's okay with you, I'll send her your 3 USC email accounts and ask her to reach out to you immediately. She told me
Okay.
tonight she wasn't going to be able to be in class. She had a family medical emergency.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. That's right up my alley. All right. I'll see you guys in a bit.
Mhm. Oh, it says, hang on, that was like ABC University. Okay, great. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's one.
Hello, sorry.
Hello.
There was some kind of mix up. So yeah, Dr. Cash had to move us around. No, I think our group had higher ed and K-12 mix.
No, it's only higher ed.
Yeah, so yeah, I was like, I mean, I could do K-12, but I don't know anything about K-12.
Why? Me too. Why higher ed team?
Yay. Okay, so let me, okay. Khadija sent, okay. Mm.
I think we have to download it. Oh, yeah, I just sent the prompt link.
Hey y'all, they just moved me to y'all's group.
Hi.
Hi.
So is this
Welcome.
presentation due today?
Next week, next week.
Next week.
Oh. Oh, okay, well, let's get started.
Nah.
Right.
Yeah, me neither. Dude.
It's just
That-
very, very common issues we see in the higher education since I work with a lot of faculties for the past few years. This is very common, and this is one of the biggest complaints they complain every single time when we work with the schools. And here is the real issue for this. It's like I almost think that's university's fault. They hire one full-time faculty. They're spending so much money on hiring them. They give them like investment fundings. They give them like for example, we hired one super talent full-time faculties from Virginia Tech for like a research purpose. Okay. But when he got hired, university gave him like $500,000 as startup funding. Okay. But like my university, well, it's not for free. It's not for like you just use that money, use that funding for the work you do at the University of Georgia. They kind of like request like for 3 years, it's like KPI. For 3 years, you need to make at least half back. But man, that professor have like so much like 10 traveling conferences per year. Also with like 5 doctoral students, 3 postdoc in the lab, and also plus like advising, appointment time, conductive policies, all the jobs. How's that gonna happen? How's that gonna happen? And he got to stop the contract last week because he can't make that investment back in 3 years. Was that super heavy workflow? I used to complain this to the school. I was like, why you as like the university need to know what is the priorities you want that professor to do is to have a best research data to show because every conferences they go, they attend, they need to show a proposal to attract like investments, fundings, all that, grants, all that. They need to have something to show to receive like more fundings, more grants, all that. But with that heavy workflow, how are they going to do it? Why school can't hire a couple more full-time staffs with like simple like advising doctoral students, postdoctorals, all that with like students retentions, all that work. A full-time faculty is talent enough to handle all that.
Do you work for USC?
No, 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 no. I work
Oh,
for University of Georgia. I live in
okay.
Georgia.
I was gonna say,
No
I was gonna
worries.
say that's because we
Nothing
all
bad
thought
at
we were gonna
USC.
get fired.
No, no. That's a problem. And university don't want to do it. You know why? Because they assume it's like, oh, every professor have like so many doctoral students and a postdoc. The doctoral students supposed to be work as TA. We pay them as well.
Did that professor agree to that contract though?
No, I mean it's not in the contract. It's like contract is all the contract is under the policy. It looks fine. It looks fine. But the problem is when you start work, it's like in the contract, it don't have like specific percentage, like how many classes you have to teach, how many advising work you have to do. It
Ooh,
just list of the
yeah.
responsibilities you got to do, but not like exactly tell you like how heavy is that workflow. What is the
Yeah.
real heightened expectations they have?
Yeah. So we should put that in our,
It's crazy. I'm
what is
telling you,
it?
it's crazy.
We should
Ernest,
put that in our,
do you want to share the PowerPoint that you have, Ernest, so we can see like as we're talking this through, like what we could plug in or
yeah.
because some of this is overlapping with the image that you that she with the image that you shared in the
Mhm.
chat, Ernest. Oh,
No, it's different. It's different. I
it's
have a
very
hard
different.
time too. Did he say it has to be PowerPoint or did it say? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just says presentation.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I think I read somewhere it said just to present. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks, Ernest. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think we can you grant us editing?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-mm.
Might just be me because I came late.
No, I didn't either. I don't got it either.
No, I didn't either.
Oh, shoot, wait. There we go.
Okay.
Not for
Let me
me.
refresh.
You need to reopen
There
again,
it
I think.
goes.
Yes.
It works now. Oh,
Oh,
Oh, oh,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
go ahead, yay. I'm under. I'll
Yeah,
go,
wait.
I'll go down.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. But I think that's what he said, no? That's why he was like, don't hate me, because we're
Oh,
gonna be
I think
stuck.
he was referring like so I got booted from
Me
two
too.
groups.
Me too.
Same.
I think we are.
Ariana.
Make it easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good for you. I am panicking now. I was, yeah, yeah. Wow. That's awesome.
What type
That's
of working,
awesome.
Ernest? Are you what type of the strategies you're using? Are you using like quantitative or qualitative? Mm, yeah, it's popular right now. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. I think maybe just to Yang's point, like, because I know like with physicians that, are required to do research, they have like a certain percentage of work time that's like admin or research time, and then they have like clinic time and, blah, blah, blah. So maybe add something like that,
Provide
like
the
the,
details
yeah, like Dr.
at the
Katz was like,
description.
yeah, like what percentage is teaching and
Yeah.
research or whatever.
Performance based. And if so that way they know what they're getting evaluated on.
Yeah, and maybe not leave. Sorry, Yang, that professor sounds
Oh,
he's
poor
gonna be,
guy.
yeah, poor
Poor guy just
guy.
left last week. Poor guy just left.
Oh, he let, oh,
Yeah, he
wow.
left already. Yeah, because university decided not continue the contract.
After three years,
Yes.
wow, wow.
Yes, and university always have two, I think they have two round of 3 years evaluation, then we'll move up to a 10 year.
Sorry, did you guys already go over the prompt? I know I came in like very last minute.
Mhm. Mhm.
Ernest, how do you do this? Oh my gosh. I need to learn these skills from you. No, I mean, if I did it, it would be like all day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Ernest, what's TCEL?
That's for like research, clinic, all that. I think. Yeah, that's research, teaching, practitioner, and a clinical. Oh, oh, sorry. I was looking at
Acquisition.
the wrong.
Okay.
Mm. Okay.
So Ernest, with this graphic, because I see that some of them like already answer the questions, especially as far as like how we, like what process like we would perform, like will we, utilize, and I see like how, you have the phase one and things like that. So should we like just put this under the each question, or like summarize it in each question, or like
The breakdown.
yeah, because like your picture. Because like I'm looking at your picture and like the questions that it's asking, and some of it is answered in your graphic. Or were we looking to, I don't know if we were looking to start from scratch, or I didn't know. Oh, okay, good. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mom. Pick this up.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I
Using psych there, huh?
I like the graphic, and I think that it already has like 6 bullet points, and there's already 6 of us. if we like needed to divide and conquer
Yeah.
in a sense. Um, I always like your infographics, so
Yeah, same.
you're stuck with me, Ernest. We're in like multiple groups together.
But yeah, I agree, Liz. I like this infographic. Um, just to get away. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think even if we did have to have a presentation, I think just utilizing the same graphic and just, I guess, breaking it into our section will still work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if we're like in agreement with how to present and if we're all agreeing on this specific infographic that's already been designed. Because I feel like it does answer the question and we can make the tweaks within our presentation as needed. But it's the floor open. I came in last, so I'm kind of like trying to.
No, no, it's okay. And whatever y'all need from me, I'm there. Just, I'm open to anything. So I'm all hands on deck.
I started putting my name next to some things. I know there's like eight the questions. And so I didn't know if we wanted to do like
Oh wait,
Is
that's
there
the
8?
top one. Denisha, that's the top. So that one's for K through 12, right?
Ah,
It's the other
sorry.
side,
Yeah,
the back
it's the one
side.
on
Yeah,
the
the back
bottom.
side.
So we
Then
only have the 2 questions.
So we have 10 minutes left, y'all. So do we want to meet over the weekend as a question?
no. I'm so sorry.
No,
My
you got
week is
kids.
I do not want to talk
Kids.
about work on a week.
Yeah.
Sorry. We need to figure this out. A Sunday if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
I could do it on I could do it on a Sunday at least it's like Sunday evening or something.
I mean, we don't need to at this point because we don't have anything to discuss.
Yeah.
What about, like Ernest said, we put everything like our ideas in that shared document. Then once we have everybody's ideas, we can create like a presentation or something,
Or
Then
do
we can
we,
discuss that
yeah.
presentation.
Do we want to go ahead and just kind of with the infographic, just kind of decide who wants to talk about what, and then we can dive in deeper on our own. And if we need to add anything, we'll just put it on the shared doc. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cause
let's do
I can
that.
do I can do the strategic committee and recruitment formation.
I'll do the multi-phase merit eval.
I could
Let me
do
just write
the
this down.
transparent internal communication.
The which one's left right now?
So we have multiple. So the track diversity and efficiency metric, I can do that.
Is there anything else left? Let's see. There's 6, right? 1, 2, 3.
There's a equity narrative, embed non-voting EEO, equity officers. And then it's basically like phase 1 that's still open.
So I guess the question would be, this would, I think, apply to, well, I guess we have to divide like tenure and then the RTCP one, right? So I feel like it would kind of be the same thing, just yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
No. So we only have 5 questions, right? The question 1 include 4. No, the second questions. It's totally 5, right?
Correct.
Okay, so each one of us just take 1, right? And dividing for 2, one question for faculty and 1 response for the RTPC. 1 question for 2 answer.
Yes.
1, yes, okay. So which one's left right now?
I think the EEO, the embedded non-voting EEO, equity officers. I think that one. And
Okay. I think I know where the confusion is. So I think we're going off the infographic and then some of us are going off the prompt.
Question, yeah.
So do we want to go down to the question, the prompt first, and then see, and I think that's what Maggie was talking about, right? With the 5 questions?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm
And I
confused
think
who's doing what questions.
I see. And I see that the Desha's on the thing. She's got her name in there. So I guess so the first one is A. So how will you engage in workforce planning and position definition? Describe your search committee formation processes. So then we already have somebody doing that. And then B.
And because I felt the graphic already answered that, so that's why I was like, and I can add on to it.
I see what you mean, yeah.
So do you want to do A or B?
I think it's both. I think they both tie in together.
Okay. So
I don't have to do both, but when I was reading the prompt, well, it just seemed like those like kind of go together, like recruiting and the formation.
Yep. There's a so where she has a describe your recruitment strategy on the bottom of it says where will you post advertisements and why? That can be another person.
Okay, I can do that.
Here, I'll put your.
So where you post advertisement and why? Okay.
Yeah, can you add Yang to that?
Yep, I got it.
Oh, I'll do this one then. I'll do the application review process.
Yeah. And then I took the other one, the communication part, because that's the other part of the infographic that I thought matched it. And then the metrics, we have Veronica. And then Ernest, the big picture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then the infographic, trying to look to see if there's anything missing. Oh my gosh, we have like a minute. Well, we can create like a group chat and, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
He's
Hang on.
starting.
Do we have another group member? Daniel?
We do?
We do.
I just saw that email. It says, here's a group, like Daniel, contact a group. That's our group, right?
Oh, because maybe that person's
Oh God.
absent. That person must be absent. Maybe that's why. Because remember he said there are some students not in
Yeah,
class
he has
today?
like family emergency or something. I'll just like they would
Ah,
just like
okay.
they would just sign like everybody like tested. No, we're short of one
Is
people.
there another Veronica? He has
Oh.
Veronica's name on here too, saying to contact your group.
Oh my gosh.
Mm. Well, I guess we'll just create a group chat with like our cell number and then
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
go from there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how Dan.
You guys good with what you need to do between now and then? All right. Everybody get their, as my daughter would say, your deets exchanged. It kind of looks like maybe that did happen. Good. Any questions for me?
So in terms of the presentation, the 15 minutes, we are presenting like our approach to this case study. Do you want it to be interactive where there's like discussion, or is it just us presenting for those 15 minutes?
That is a great question because I don't care. I want you to present it in a way that you think is going to answer the prompts.
On that note, do we need to cite sources? Or are we using
Nope.
experience? Okay.
Nope, not at all. This is not a research project. This is let's get it done project. No. No. But higher ed, you will be stuck with each other. I'll just split you up. Same with K-12. And okay. Then any other questions? I sent out an announcement that listed everybody. I emailed the people who weren't here and gave them the email addresses of the groups they're in. So hopefully you'll hear from them. All right. Fight on, everybody. See you next week.
Thanks, Dr. Cash.
Thank